If you're going to be that stupid, the least you can do for the rest of us is be quiet. It used to be fairly harmless. Well, not harmless. It was definitely irritating. Well, listen, Stunad, guess who controls the money in this country? So let me school your ass for a second. Try and remember that when you're stupidly posting your nonsense. The sooner we get rid of Florida and DeSantis, the better. Half those houses don't even have basements. Push them along into the ocean. If you have a nice, 70s Dodge Dart, we can go to page 2. All right, cool. How do you like me now?
Hard Rock Lunchbox.
What is up, everybody? Let me get my sound up here. Yeah. How's everybody doing? It's time for the Hard Rock Lunchbox, and if you're watching on YouTube, it is time for the top 20. It is 10/10/2024. That's right, October 10th, 2024. Truth be told, I was considering taking the day off from the show, but actually some nonsense in the political realm compelled me to come and do the show anyway, much like a real journalist, I suppose. We can all do our parts. So, why don't we get the show running like we always do with a little light housekeeping. There is a brand new top 20 out today. It's called That's Not Water. That was a little story about the first and probably last time I actually had a shot on stage. Must have been 10, 15 years ago, playing out in Staten Island. That was fun. I also talked about my new song called The One. I was pondering how serial killers pick their victims. I suppose I could ask Kaz later how that happened. Talked about Tony's thimble and, of course, presidential immunity, all that good stuff, and you can find that now on YouTube on Strangerhood TV. It is the new episode of the Top 20. Please give it a like, a subscribe, a comment, a listen, whatever people do on YouTube. Just do it over there. Bacon is my podcast this week as Guardians of the Galaxy ride, Epcot versus California with BIMP. That'll be interesting. Discussions and drinks. Bim from Nashville, Bad Mom Water, Cookies, and Arguing Online is our Bacon. And then they do National Cookie Month Delights. So lots of good stuff over at Bacon is my podcast to check out. And I suggest you do so. I suggest I do so. It's been a little while since I've listened to anything going on over at BIMP. I should rectify that. It's beautiful out today, by the way, so I'm hoping to be able to take a walk a little later this afternoon, and maybe I'll get my BIMP on. I think that's how the kids put it these days. I am running a little late, so I kind of want to just get right into it and get on to the music. If that's cool with everybody, I'd appreciate that. So the main reason I'm here today is basically to talk about more misinformation in the right-wing magosphere, which is just it's always been troubling to me, specifically it bothers me, but it's really starting to bother anybody with any ounce of intelligence how absolutely ridiculous, false, and loud these morons on the right are becoming. And that's not to mean conservatives or Republicans. I'm talking specifically about this MAGA crowd that is just getting exponentially louder and even more so dumber. And it is just baffling it shocks the conscience how stupid these people can be. It used to be fairly harmless. Well, not harmless. It was definitely irritating, but I guess harmless in a way with all these ridiculous posts that these people are sharing that's blatantly false information. My personal favorite is really about how great the economy was under Donald Trump, former President Trump, and not realizing at all that we were all here. I mean, if you're over 4 years old, you were here, and you know that under President Trump, because of the COVID pandemic, the economy went to zero. Something like 80% of the workforce was not working. And we had no money. We had no money to the point where the government had to give people money just for food. There were lines for food pantries and stuff like that. the simple fact that they can't even bother to remember a simple fact that we're all well aware of is just sort of like illustrate and highlights just how absolutely selectively memory and completely stupid and moronic and idiotic these people are. I mean, that's just a knowable, provable fact. Like, you can have different opinions on whether or not we should have done this or should have done that, but people that are just talking about how great the economy was under Trump, first of all, the only time the economy was good was right when he took office, and you know why that was? Because President Obama had done such a good job. But also, it has very little to do with the president, how things kind of go economically speaking, with the exception of disasters, global wars, global pandemics, like the stock market crash and stuff like that. Like, there are things the executive branch can do to head those things off, but a general economic plan is a little bit more involved than just the president. And that's another thing that people constantly post. Everyone's always complaining about how all of our money is going to this, that, and the other thing. Well, listen, Stunad, guess who controls the money in this country? If you paid any attention in school, which, honestly, if you're a MAGA supporter, you probably didn't. So let me school your ass for a second. Congress is responsible for the purse strings, the pocketbook. Those government shutdowns you keep hearing threatened all the time, you know where they come from? Congress, specifically the House of Representatives. You want to take a guess at who runs the House of Representatives right now? It's Mike Johnson, the same guy that watches porn with his kid. That guy is in charge of the House of Representatives. These are the people that are responsible for spending money. You can't spend a single dime of government money without that approval. So what does that tell you? Who's responsible for spending all the money? The Republicans are. So try and remember that when you're stupidly posting your nonsense on social media. Because not only you're wrong, but you look like a complete idiot to absolutely anybody that knows anything about anything, right? So these are all the same dumb... Oh, the gasoline post. I love the price of gas. Well, it was $1.68 under Trump, or $1.85 under Trump. You know why that was? Because nobody was driving. And you know what else matters in economics? Stuff like supply and demand, right? This means that if nobody is using gas, the price will come down. That's how it works. And that's what's so funny to me about people that constantly complain about the cost of things, like the cost of going out to dinner, the cost of a new iPhone, the cost of a new car. Well, idiot, if you stop buying it, the prices will come down. But you're too distracted by shiny objects, and you're too goddamn selfish to give up anything that you want because you're so special and important that you keep doing these things. How about you learn to cook and don't go out to dinner so much? How about you carpool or something, or take mass transit so you don't have to drive all the time? Stunad! This is how this stuff works. But I realize I'm speaking to people that are way too stupid to understand basic concepts. Well, now we've got natural and national disasters going on in the Southeast. We've got really bad stuff going on in North Carolina. We had a Category 3 hurricane just hit Florida again last night. Now, personally, I could care less. The sooner we get rid of Florida and DeSantis, the better. Because those morons down there are really doing themselves a disservice. Because they keep voting against their best interests. And yes, I know arguments can be made that the left votes against their best interests all the time. That's another show. But these people keep complaining about things that are being done to them by their local government. The reason Florida has garbage for infrastructure is because they don't do income tax there. If you don't have a state income tax, you can't pay for stuff like sewer systems and fresh water and emergency management, local law enforcement. Where do you think that money comes from? Well, I guess in Florida's case, it comes from tourism and Disney, the thing that all Floridians seem to hate these days. That's where the money comes from if you're not paying income tax. Well, things cost money now, and houses are being wiped off the map into the Gulf because there's no infrastructure to keep them there. They don't even have you ever been to Florida? I mean, half those houses don't even have basements. That means you could just push them along into the ocean if you have a nice, 70s Dodge Dart with a strong enough engine in it. And maybe we should start doing that. Like, I love this. Like, things just aren't there anymore. You know why? Because we have these disasters that are happening because people don't believe in climate change and people don't believe in infrastructure and people just want all this stuff. And now, finally now, people are starting to complain about FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Association. Like, these are the people that come in and save your ass when you're too stupid to have saved it before. And now all they're doing is making up lies and rumors about this because their demagogue has just been saying all this ridiculous nonsense. So I thought I would take a few minutes today to not only point out just how stupid you people are and how much better off we would be without you, which I fully and firmly believe, but because of all these rumors and all these lies that are going on, FEMA actually had to put up a page on their site to deal with all these false rumors. And I am going to take some time and read some to you today. How do you like me now? Like, seriously, like, these are things that are knowable facts, and the stupid amongst us just refuse to know them because they think that they're right. Especially the people that are like, well, my sister's brother's cousin said that, like, just stop right there. And some of the ridiculous stuff, like I heard FEMA was going into people's houses, taking the toothpaste cap off the toothpaste and not putting it back on. And honestly, that's just that's terrible if that's really true. And honestly, I guess people should be upset by stuff like that. Unfortunately, that's not happening either. So if it sounds like I'm really pissed about this, I am, because I'm really just tired of the stupid people. I'm so over it. I'm so beyond over it. It is just ridiculous. I'm tired of people blaming poor people for all the problems in this country. Like, poor people, yeah. Are there scumbags among the poor? Sure. Are there scumbags among the rich? Mostly. So, like, let's start putting blame where things belong. Let's stop lying to people because we want to seem important and special. And for Christ's sake, stop trying to pretend and think that you're smart when you aren't. There is a reason you barely got out of high school. It's because you don't understand basic concepts. And I think it's about time you get back to just shutting up and raising your hand and deferring to those of us that know better than you. Because if you're going to be that stupid, the least you can do for the rest of us is be quiet. So here, let's go through some of these. Here's one. Rumor. FEMA is confiscating donations for survivors. Rumors about FEMA turning away donations, stopping trucks or vehicles with donations, confiscating and seizing supplies, often spread after a disaster. These are all false. FEMA does not take donations and or food from survivors or voluntary organizations. Donations of food, water, or other goods are handled by voluntary agencies who specialize in storing, sorting, cleaning, and distributing donated items. FEMA does not conduct vehicle stops or handle road closures with armed guards. Those are all done by local law enforcement. Yay! Want another one? Funding for FEMA disaster response was diverted to support international efforts or border-related issues. This is false. No money is being diverted from disaster response needs. FEMA's disaster response efforts and individual assistance is funded through the Disaster Relief Fund, which is a dedicated fund for disaster efforts. Disaster Relief Fund money has not been diverted to other non-disaster related efforts. Yay! We can go to page 2. All right, cool. At least we know there's more than one page. That's good to know. FEMA is asking for cash donations and turning away volunteers. This is false. FEMA does not ask for or generally accept any cash donations or volunteers for disaster response. We do encourage people who want to help to volunteer with or donate cash to reputable voluntary or charitable organizations. After disaster, cash is often the best way to help, as it provides the greatest flexibility for these reputable organizations working on the ground to purchase exactly what is needed. If you encounter someone claiming to represent FEMA and asking for donations, be careful, as that is likely a scam. Government employees will never solicit money. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? People are so stupid that they're falling for FEMA asking for money. It's almost like people falling for other people selling Bibles. U.S. Bibles. God Bless America Bibles, which it turns out are made in China. Yay! God damn. People are so stupid. FEMA does not have enough money to provide disaster assistance for Helene. FEMA has enough money right now for immediate response and recovery needs. If you are affected by Helene, do not hesitate to apply for disaster assistance, as there is a variety of help available for different needs. Rumor: FEMA is no longer accepting applications for housing assistance. False. FEMA is still accepting assistance applications throughout areas affected by Helene. For current application timelines, visit disasterassistance.gov. You can also see if applications are being accepted on FEMA's state-specific Helene disaster web pages for Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. Rumor: FEMA is in the process of confiscating Helene survivor property. If I apply for disaster assistance and my land is deemed unlivable, my property will be seized. False. FEMA cannot seize your property or land. Applying for disaster assistance does not grant FEMA or the federal government authority or ownership of your property or land. When you apply for disaster assistance, a FEMA inspector may be sent to verify the damage on your home. This is one of the many factors reviewed to determine what kind of disaster assistance you may be eligible for. If the results of the inspection deem your home uninhabitable, that information is only used to determine the amount of FEMA assistance you may receive to make your home safe, sanitary, and functional. Such bastards. Rumor: FEMA distributes aid based on demographic characteristics. FEMA provides assistance to survivors regardless of race, color, national origin, sex, sexual orientation, religion, age, disability, English proficiency, or economic status. Do not. Oh, this is a good one. Rumor: the FAA is restricting access to the airspace for Helene rescue and recovery operations. The FAA is not restricting access for recovery operations. The FAA is coordinating closely with state and local officials to make sure everyone is operating safely in a very crowded and congested airspace. Right. We have lots of people coming in and coming out of these areas. The FAA is responsible for, not having plane crashes. So they're doing what they always do. It has nothing to do with FEMA either. There's so many. Oh, this is a good one. This is my favorite. And then I'll stop. Rumor: FEMA is blockading people in Florida and preventing evacuations. This is false. FEMA is not blockading people in Florida and preventing evacuations. FEMA does not control traffic flow or conduct traffic stops, which are handled by, say it with me, local authorities. This is a harmful rumor that can put lives in danger. If you live in the west coast of Florida and the Florida Peninsula, take immediate action to protect yourself and your loved ones. Follow the guidance of your local authorities. If you are ordered to evacuate, do so immediately. Delaying your evacuation can put your life and lives of others at risk. Local officials are the best source of information about evacuation and resources to help. This just goes on and on and on. If you want to Google FEMA and rumor response, all of this nonsense will come up for you. It is an incredibly useful site for people that honestly believe this garbage. It is an incredibly useful site for people like me that want to just mock and point out how absolutely stupid some of these people are for believing this nonsense. I mean, honestly, I think anybody that is believing this stuff is bad enough, but the absolute horrible people that are spreading these rumors are just bananas. And there's just example after example. I've heard about people complaining that helicopters are coming in with a generator for people doing a news report so they can just do their news report and leave. Yeah, that's not FEMA. That's local news agencies. Take it up with them. These are your newscasters. And also, this happens all the time. People report the news. They need generators for the cameras, for the lights, all that other stuff. I think it's ridiculous, but that's what people do. Has nothing to do with the government response or FEMA. The other favorite one is that people are blocking local roads. Yeah, that does happen, and it's done by local and state authorities. You know what's going on in North Carolina right now? It's been so bad that bridges are gone. So, yeah, maybe they should block the roads. But actually, if you're a thinker like I am, anybody that thinks that they shouldn't have a roadblock because there's a bridge out, should definitely do 60 to 75 miles an hour on that road, because as they start piling up in the ravines and rivers, our country will statistically get smarter and smarter. So I personally am all for that. If you see a blocked road, definitely go around it. I think that's probably a good idea. If you're around the 80 IQ point range, absolutely do that. Like for all of us, baby. Just please get that done. So I doubt anybody that listens to my show on the regular is stupid enough to believe some of these rumors, but if you are, I hope I have had an opportunity to enlighten you. Maybe raise your IQ a point or two. Probably not, but maybe we can get some little intelligence just crammed into that walnut-sized brain of yours. These are things that pets understand. You know, the ones that aren't being eaten, those are the ones we need to, like, really worry about. And if it sounds like I'm annoyed, it's because I am. I'm really tired of my fellow Americans being dumber and dumber and dumber because their school system gets worse and worse and worse. And I don't want to say which candidate on the right wants to shut down the Department of Education, because I can't imagine how good things would be after that. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel that said on his show, and this is just brilliant, because as soon, if we do get rid of the Department of Education, then the role of education is only going to default to the states. Which, what do you think is going to do for the already dumb states that are too stupid to elect intelligent officials and not know when they're doing such bad stuff to them? I'm looking at you, Louisiana, Arkansas, Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, all those places. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel that said it best, that the Hurricane Milton was going to be one for the history books, which would matter if Florida still had history books. And I think that really just sums it up perfectly and beautifully. And before I pass out from agita, anxiety, and just complete anger at the stupidity of these people, I think I'm going to switch over to some music. I'm going to switch over to probably one of the prettiest songs I can find right now from a local artist. And I will say that at the show on Friday night, James did an absolutely brilliant version of this song. If James is listening, even remotely, I highly encourage putting out a solo performance recording, just maybe on the bonus track, like something off of something more, like maybe the deluxe version if you ever get around to doing that, because I personally would love to hear it. But I will settle for the full album version right now, because I think we could all use a little path maker, because if we ever needed a path, it's now.